All right, Jeff, it is so good to be talking to you. I know we talked last week, but it's good to be reconnecting with you after many years.
Many years. Good to see you, Josh.
Right on. And Jeff, we know each other from you were in a peer team with a bunch of great other guys a bunch of years ago. And we went to DC, Arizona, New York. We went all sorts of places, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. We sure did.
Hell yeah.
What, 15 years ago or something like that?
It feels like it might very well be.
So I'm still in touch with those guys too. It's great.
Isn't that awesome? You know, I think that's one of the biggest one of the many benefits I get from my job is, in your case, a lot of you knew each other, but then you met some strangers along the way. But when we can bring together a bunch of strangers and then learn, 10, 15 years later, oh, you guys still talk? You guys went on vacation? Like, that's a really cool thing to help facilitate that kind of introduction to people.
Yeah, it's been great. I still learn stuff from these folks. I know that at the start of COVID, we got together, the old band, and we talked together about how we were going to deal with all of that too. So mighty good to have other people similarly situated who understands exactly what I'm going through, and understand a little bit about what they're going through too.
That's right. Well, let me ask you this question, and it's not the question I ask everyone right from the start, but I'm going to ask you, because I know you don't come off as an IT guy. Like, that does not, would not be the thing I would pick out of the room and say, oh, there's the IT guy. That you are not the guy I'd point to. Are you in fact an IT guy? Did you ever live in the trenches of turning wrenches and banging on keyboards?
Absolutely was. I started around 1998 or 99, just walking around money, weekends and evenings, helping people out. Just one gentleman from the university department I was associated with, and then a guy down the street also needed some help. And by about 2005, I was in full time with one helper. And then, I had Buddy, say never go into business with your best friend. Well, I did that.
Right.
And 20 years later, we're still best friends and still get to enjoy each other's company. So I guess we're the outlier when it comes to that. But yeah, both my business partner Hanson and I, we definitely turned a lot of wrenches back in the day.
Hell yeah. I remember you brought to a peer team meeting, and I have it somewhere, these cards that you used to plug into a machine. I think your dad gave them to you, or you found them in his stuff. You remember those? And then you made
the IBM punch cards.
Yeah. Those are awesome.
Make great note cards. I'm sorry?
Were those your dad's? Maybe I'm making that part of the story.
I think those are my grandfather's.
Grandfathers. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So you come by the IT honestly, that's for sure.
I think so.
So you start helping people in the mid 90s. You find you have a knack for it. You mentioned a university. So in your adult career, did you have just that one job other than working for yourself, or did you kind of move around to lots of things in IT before that?
I worked for a wonderful nonprofit back then called the Appalachian Trail Conference. It's now the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. And as a lark after grad school, I went and be sysadmin for these folks in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. And that lasted 5 years. And I moved back down to Blacksburg, Virginia from Harpers Ferry. And who took my place up there in Harpers Ferry was Hanson Ball, my business partner, ended up taking my job and spending some time there doing that too. After that, I worked in technology at Virginia Tech, remote sensing, remote data acquisition, programming, stuff like that. And that's when I had the walking around money that I wanted to get weekends and evenings. 98, 99 is around then, I think.
Okay, you just said so many things that I am interested in. So number one, Harpers Ferry, like that old song, Harpers Ferry PTA?
Like that's Harper Valley PTA. I think that's
Harper Valley. Okay, I thought it was Harper Ferry PTA. All right.
Harpers Ferry is a beautiful, right at the confluence of the Shenandoah Potomac River. It's the easternmost point in West Virginia, and it's a very historic place. John Brown, if you've heard of that guy, he's made that place famous, and it was a big deal in the Civil War too. Super nice place, and the Appalachian Trail goes right through Harpers Ferry, and that's why its location it's headquartered right there.
that's number two right there. So I know the Appalachian Trail. I for some reason my YouTube feed shows me lots of stuff about the Appalachian Trail, both an amazing and terrifying endeavor for anyone. Have you done some sections of it?
Done some small sections of it. I didn't ever have the bandwidth or the time that would take to do more of it, because it's almost a year-long commitment to prepare yourself to, do the hike. And a lot of people start, they injure themselves or figure it's not for them and stop. So not many people who start or even think about it actually manage to complete all 2,000 plus miles of the trail.
Well, I'm sure that's true. And, one of the words I hear a lot of these creators talking about on the Appalachian Trail is a strategy. So, preloading food at various areas, storing things, mapping out their day. Is that, I love that word strategy. It gets thrown around a lot. And I don't think a lot of people, have mastered that component of owning a business around a strategy. Let me ask you, with New River and Hanson, were you guys strategic? Were you guys like right from the jump, this is where we're going, this is how we do it, this is how we're going to market, this is who we're segmenting? Were you guys those guys, or were you more not?
Yeah, we were all just looking for the walking around money at first, and then it became obvious maybe around 2010 or maybe a couple of years before then that we needed to do better, to be better about planning, be better about understanding our finances, and get more strategic. And that's when, starting to talk to other MSP owners, at first a self-organized kind of group. And that's what I think that the peer teams really helped us out, is getting that more strategic focus on what's going on, learning more about the business itself. We didn't know what we didn't know back in mid 2000s, and just getting involved with others that are more experienced than us. It was transformative for our business.
Absolutely makes sense. Learning from your peers is always either going to get motivated or you're going to learn something. But the strategy piece, one of the things that I credit you with a lot, I think about it for myself a lot, and I share it with lots of other people. Something I learned from you is you had an end goal in mind, at least, or at least you were willing to look at what the end might look like. I remember you and your wife, you guys kind of had this vision of, we're going to live this kind of lifestyle. And I probably over exaggerated a little bit, but you're like, it's going to cost us this much per day, or this is how the finances will need to look when we no longer, want to be working. That always amazed me. Was there a point in the business where you were able to translate that kind of life goal into the day-to-day strategy of the business? How were you able to, and how did you do that if you were able to?
Great. Yeah. So that's a great question. So we did have a spreadsheet to say, hey, how much money do we have to have socked away in the bank in order to live the life we want to live?
Right.
Our end point moved three times from we're going to be on a boat to we got the camper, or maybe just this house. But nevertheless, having that knowledge of where we needed to go, and it had to see what the end zone looked like, the finish of the race, right? We can sort of plot ourselves along and try to get there. And that's something, up until the time I started talking with my peers, really, where we really didn't have a good sense of, we were just muddling through things. And then long after, I would lobby all the business owners to listen to this, to find a trusted financial advisor to help them navigate what's a complicated thing. So for us, not only did we have to figure out, insurance and how much money we need to have in the bank, what kind of lifestyle we want to live. We have one disabled child that we need to provide for. And so that changed our picture, and it ended up meaning we had to work for a little bit longer, and that's fine. And that's the way it should be. But without having some professional advice, I don't think we would have made as good a decisions as we have up to this point, such as they are, and good or not, they're decisions.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that that financial advisor piece. One of the things I've observed over the years is MSP business owners, they tend to be pretty conservative with their money. I hear lots of stories of guys paying their houses off early or having really big nest eggs. It seems to be a pretty financially responsible group of people. But what I've also noticed is the level of sophistication is pretty low relative to, somebody who's more aggressive with financial planning. I think MSP business owners, I see a lot of like, I'm a great saver, I'm not an overspender, I don't get in debt. I don't hear them talking as much about what kind of investments they're making, what kind of moves they're doing to make the money work for them. And that's not true of everyone, but it seems to be a theme. Were you pretty diligent about letting whatever money was available work for you?
Trying to socking away 401k. Our company had a 401k program. We got off the ground as soon as we could and participated in it. Anybody who's not doing that now needs to probably rethink that decision. Hans and I built the company we wanted to work for, and that was a relatively lower stress environment with good benefits, more casual, relaxed atmosphere. Being mindful that life gets in the way sometimes. We have kids. We got to take kids to the doctor. Stuff happens, and we wanted to be able to have the freedom to do what we needed to for our families, and we wanted to have that same freedom for the people that work for us, to our employees. And I think that engendered a lot of loyalty amongst our folks.
I love that phrase. Wanted to build the company you wanted to work for. That might even be how we title this video. That's awesome, Jeff. And it mission accomplished.
I believe so. I loved working for New River Computing. Didn't always like the responsibility that came attached to it, but most of the stuff I got to do was a lot of fun. And something else we did for our people, Josh, and I'm not sure anybody listening to this would. We brought our financial advisor in. Hans and I shared the same guy. We brought him and some of his folks in to talk to our employees about planning for their future. And we thought that was time well spent for everybody. These kids, in their maybe lower 20s, they need to be taking advantage of that 401k. They need to be thinking about what's the end goal now. It's going to save them a lot of heartache and frustration later on.
There's no doubt. I think if you're any sort of human being, which I think, anyone I know is a pretty good human being, it is hard to watch the short-term decisions of younger employees and watching them, either not participate in the 401k or, flip around and immediately take loans against it or cashing it out. It's easy from this side of the age spectrum to kind of think, oh, you should do this, or why aren't you doing that? I don't have the words for it. You might have the words for it, but a financial planner bringing them in as a resource, that's huge, because they don't know what they don't know oftentimes.
That's right. They don't teach that in school.
No. I think my wife says it a lot during tax time. She's so glad that she learned about parallelograms right around tax season. That was helpful, but don't teach me what a standard deduction is.
Right. Well, I think we do our kids a disservice in school in a lot of different ways, and that's one of them. Financial literacy is something that we all need to be more aware of.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that a lot. Let me ask you, Jeff, it wasn't always, sunshine and butterflies. Was there a moment or something that you can recall that nearly broke the business that you had to work through? Did we ever get that dark in that canyon?
There were several lower points when the company wasn't as profitable or not profitable, shoveling money, taking a pay cut to keep things moving forward was something that we had to do as owners a few times early on in our existence. And then learning about how the finances work. And Josh, you got a lot of credit along those lines is helping us understand what the numbers mean. And that's something I didn't have enough experience on. I was an engineering graduate and grad student. They didn't give us any business background whatsoever here at Virginia Tech. Maybe that's different in different schools. I don't know. But I feel like we were doing folks a big disservice by not being able to read a P&L coming out of college, not being understand balance sheet and how that stuff works together to describe the financial health of your business. So any of you out there who haven't, at least get you like an intro 101 to finance at a community college or something like that, it will serve you well. Not having had that background crippled us, probably set us 10 years back in the 20 years that Hans and I in the business, I would say.
Yeah, that's a fair one of kind of not being able to tell what happened, whether it was good or bad, and why it happened, and how to either replicate it or avoid in the future. That can really keep you treading water for a long time. I sometimes in my role, it's easy to kind of not just think about things academically and really kind of connect the dots to the real world. So I say that preface to ask you, what was your kind of strategy or description of your kind of sales evolution over your 20 plus years? Because you would hear me say, hey, you're ready for sales now. We need to, take it off of your shoulders if we really want to make that big move. And so MSPs kind of land with a lot of tries, and, they'll try it, stop, and really can't get that momentum. You obviously had a successful exit. What's the real life version of building a sales team or having somebody besides yourself or Hanson doing the sales?
Tough call. So we were always owner-led sales. Usually it was me. Sometimes it was Hanson. At first, you've heard this song before, but I'll sing it to you again. At first we would take anything. We'll do anything. Just pay us, please. As we became more mature, we were more selective about the kinds of clients that we would be serving, narrowing our focus and our offering down to basically 3 different tiers. We didn't call them gold, silver, platinum, and we really didn't discuss that during our sales process. This is what we need to do for you. We can do these things. It was super comfortable, but weird. The first time I was like, I don't think that we're a good fit for you, Ms. Client, but these other folks down the road might be a better fit. Saying no to revenue was challenging at first, but narrowing that focus really helped us be more profitable at the end of the day.
And there's so many lessons just in that. Let me ask you, did you ever go for any outbound selling efforts?
We did not. We had 2 salespeople along the lines, and neither of them worked out. We got some business from them, but we didn't get the revenue from those dollars we spent on the sales process that if I could do pure sales. And I love selling. I think that you asked me last week, what was your favorite part of the job? Maybe somebody else asked me that. I don't remember, but I really love having sort of appointments with clients. Our strategy has always been around consultative sort of sales. Like, can we learn about your business? Business that super interesting. I wonder if what we do help you solve your, let you be problem.
So yeah, I recall you saying that sales was your favorite part of the job, and having a couple of failed experiments on sales, and you loving it, that would make sense to just kind of say, I'm going to build this business, with me leading the efforts. What is it about the sales process that you love so much?
It's a challenge, of course.
All right.
I hate to go as far as say it's a sport, but I do enjoy meeting people and learning about them and learning about their businesses. I think that's super fun, even if it's obvious from a first time appointment that it wasn't going to work out. And I would tell them that, as we were more sophisticated, I'd be flat out honest after the first time. I don't think we're a good fit for you. Maybe these other folks down the street would be. But then, seeing it through to coming to an agreement and then delivering on that service, that promise that we made them going into the sales engagement was very gratifying. And I got New River Computing's folks to thank for that, because they were fantastic. They are fantastic, and they enjoy helping people out. So I noticed a couple of things about people who own MSPs and in that space, the employees and the owners, is we love helping people out. I mean, we like making someone's day materially better just by having done our job. Be it, hey, here's I can't get my Excel open, or to how do we use Microsoft 365 to be more productive and have a competitive advantage against others. All of that's so satisfying.
Yeah, it is. I talked to a lot of MSPs, and I heard them say forever, I like helping people, and okay, great, you like helping people. Like I was somewhat dismissive to that, not entirely, but just kind of like, okay, cool, but why else are you doing this? And we didn't have an MSP for a long time at Bering McKinley. And just kind of relating to your story is we have a phenomenal MSP now, and I know we are not a profitable client for them because I have lots of problems. And when I talk to, whether it's their most junior tech or senior tech, you can feel it, that they're kind of stoked that they fixed your problem, and you can feel the genuineness of it. So I really appreciate, how, being in sales, you're on the journey to helping them, your techs kind of liking and loving helping people. That really makes sense, Jeff. I like that a lot.
So we ended up using EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and maybe some of the MSP owners that you work with are also engaged in that same process. But we went through a mission, vision, and values exercise right at the outset. Like, why are you here? Mm-hmm. We had a great facilitator for that, and he was able to coax out, why are you guys here? What are you doing? I said, well, I don't know. A few more minutes of discussion, it came out. It's like, well, we all like helping people. That's why we're here. And that became one of our core values at New River Computing is, who are we? Well, we're people that like to help other people with technology.
That's it's the mission, vision, core values, purpose statement. Those are things that are so easy to gloss over for a long time. And it's one of those things that until you do it, you're just kind of going through the motions and you're feeling it and you're genuine. But until you have a really great facilitator or just really get inspired to say, this is why we're here, well, that's an unlock. It's an absolute unlock to get the team bought in, because they're already bought in. You just articulate it or help them articulate it.
So, and like you said, having that stuff clearly defined by a good facilitator who can bring that stuff out, I think it's huge. Something I've noticed in the IT ownership and maybe IT broadly, I got diagnosed far too late with ADHD. But I've been in rooms, with Bering McKinley peers, with Evolve folks at ConnectWise. And I would say the bulk of us have this ADHD problem or feature, depending upon how you're using it.
Right.
I don't know the reason why, whether we're attracted to it or something about being in our field kind of makes us this. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a thing that it's a superpower that can be harnessed.
That's right.
So all you folks out there, I was one of those guys that you just tough through it, and then depression, that really, bullshit. Therapists and seeing somebody, understanding how your brain's working and taking advantage of it, I think it was another thing that allowed us to allowed the company to thrive.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No, I think your anecdotal observation about ADHD and other, brain things that seem to be common. I think that it definitely exists in the MSP space, and it might just be business owners in general.
It might be.
My wife of 8 years now, I'm frustrated in many ways, and she says something a lot that I take as a compliment, but it's just, I think about it a lot more. She's like, I don't know how you do it. Like, being a business owner sucks. Like, you are never at ease. You are never, not thinking about something. And she might overhear conversations and, be on a call on one topic, and then 45 minutes later, here's another part of another conversation that's totally different. So I think just entrepreneurial, lifestyle is hard, and maybe a splash of ADHD keeps the sanity in some way, because you're not frustrated with bouncing from one thing to the other. It's just how your brain is wired to some degree.
Well, and I think tools like EOS and then groups like peer teams help rein some of that in and help focus on the important things, where it's so easy to go down these rabbit holes.
Yeah,
so easy and fun too, I might add.
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. Let me ask you this. You mentioned this a couple of times, and I don't know if you got super formal with the phrase ideal client profile, but you certainly applied that when you would have to say no to clients. How were there some key things to help you decide what to say yes to and what to walk away from as you grew? Like, were there some easy marks, or were they all very subtle between the lines?
Yeah, eventually we landed on using the EOS phrasing, the target customer profile. For us, it was 10 to 100 users. It was 365 security conscious. There's within an hour and a half of our office. We were willing to go outside that target customer profile to like co-manage situations, which we've had great success with, or under, if the people are willing to pay a premium to be a smaller client and get the excellent service that our larger clients get. We were willing to go outside those bounds, but that's what we were looking for. 10 to 100, either on 365 or willing to go there, security conscious, who appreciated having good IT. They had the value IT. And that's something you can tease out during the sales process, is how much they value IT. Are they willing to pay for excellent IT? Not everyone is, and that's fine. Not everyone has to. I mean, if you're an auto body shop, you're in a different space than an accounting shop, a medical office. It's a completely different ball game. So I wouldn't want to disparage anybody who's serving those folks on a lower level of security, because I don't think everybody needs to have everything just ratcheted down as tightly as we've had in the past.
Right. So you kind of said the types of clients we serve are going to meet this profile. Hey, if you're an auto body shop and you don't need to be ratcheted down, I'm not going to make you feel bad for it. I'm not going to think poorly of you. It's just you're going to be a better fit with somebody who serves your needs better.
Exactly. Who's good in that space.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, that's excellent. Jeff, I'm gonna ask you one more question about just kind of your time as an owner, or actually just kind of ownership in general, and then we're gonna kind of move in a different direction here. If you were starting an MSP over today, what would you do differently? Doesn't mean you did something bad and you would correct that mistake.
I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of them. I'm sure some of them as well.
Sure.
We all make them. It's part of the human condition. I don't know that I would start an MSP again right now. Knowing what I know now, I might slide more into like the MSSP space. I certainly would start from the ground up, knowing my financials and understanding that, not running things by the skin of my teeth, and be much more methodical from the outset. Like, first thing I put, what's my point? Why am I starting an MSP? What does the end goal look like? How do I get from here to there in a methodical way? Make the dollars work, make the time work. So I'd probably look in the distance a lot more than I did when I started my MSP, because again, it was just for walking around money.
Yeah.
It wasn't for, making a living, which it ended up being.
When I talk to people, maybe aren't in our industry and they ask what we do, and maybe they have some strong business acumen. What I say a lot about MSP owners is they're great with IT. They're friendly enough. People started asking them to fix things, and then they woke up some years later with $900,000 in revenue and said, "Oh shit, I have a business. What am I supposed to do now?"
I've got feeding more mouths than just mine and my
right.
business partner.
So you would come at it with
ahead.
some more intention, it sounds like.
Absolutely. What does that end goal look like? And we've mentioned this, just the phrase that I've heard many times from many people is every business owner exits their business.
Mm-hmm.
So we all need to be planning on that exit. Is it, I want to be 56 years old and stop working? Is it, I want to die behind the keyboard?
Right.
There's really no wrong choice if you're
Right.
intentional about making that choice. And I'm not sure everyone is.
Yeah, that's you know me well enough to know I can be a bit of a smart ass and bust some chops and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I've tempered that down quite a bit, but the place where I just can't hold my tongue is, when I ask an owner, what's the plan here? How does this story end? How does this plane land? Does it land at the airport of your choice and you can go to the terminal where you sell the thing, or the terminal where you cash cow it? Or is it going to be an off airport landing and somebody's just going to pick up the pieces? It's starting a business is optional, ending the business is not.
That's right.
The answer I get a lot with that is they want to frame it in this really negative way of like, oh, I always want to work. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't working. I'm not even interested in thinking about the end. It's like I want to just really freak out on people when they give that answer. I'm getting much more patient with it, because I think that is a really tough question to kind of say, how does this thing end? And to your point, you're saying, hey, on day one, if I was forced to start another business, I would think about the end, is what I'm hearing you say.
Exactly right. And you mentioned those people that they don't know what they would do. I mean, some people love this business or whatever business they're in so much that that's really what they want to do.
Right.
And I can't fault that. I'm not that guy, but
Yeah, it's a very knowing, I think as we get older, we develop a crystal ball where we kind of know where stories end, whether it's a kid making a goofy choice or, in anything else. You kind of have enough experience to say, I can look around that corner and I know pretty much with a high probability of how this ends. I sometimes feel like I've got that crystal ball to say, you're 47 years old. You've got, $8,000 in the bank in your personal bank account, and your business is, 900,000 making 6% net profit. I know how this story ends. If I can get you excited about a different ending or an intentional ending, we can really change your life. But it's people have to be willing to have the conversation with themselves or with someone else. So it's
I agree 100%. And so for us, and maybe you have a question along these lines later, but I'll jump the gun because I like going down rabbit holes. I mentioned that. It took us 5 years to maneuver our company to where exactly we wanted to be for a sale. So I think that somebody who's interested in the sale, I think most people are going to be disappointed by the offers that are out there for their business. So we need to know, again, what that end goal is personally. We need to know what our profitability and our revenue needs to look like in order to accomplish a realistic sale that's going to help you get across that line. And for Hans and I, we had several other things beyond just the dollars. For us, it was super important to have a new owner that would treat our people right, that would treat our clients right, and it had to cross the financial check boxes for us too. And it took us 5 years of work to get to the point where we were able to check all the check boxes. And I don't know how other folks may be able to turn on a dime and sell for a great dollar amount. I've known some of those folks, and that's great. But for Hans and I, we had to do a lot more deliberate work because we didn't do that deliberate work earlier on in our company's life cycle.
So let's go back then to day -1 of that 5 years of that time clock starting the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a very organic, natural conversation? Did you both run into the office and say, Jeff Hansen, I think I want to sell the business? Or like, how did that moment of, and maybe it wasn't a moment, but perhaps it was a moment where you both looked at yourself and said, let's start the clock. Let's start
right.
selling.
I think that time might have been, well, we always hung out, right? So Hans and I, it's not like we're just business in separate ways. We hang out a lot together outside of the office, and we also hang out with other business owners who we considered our mentors, who we saw go through this process themselves and see the time involved and the effort involved to get there. And it was like, oh boy, we better start doing something now to get ourselves in the position where we have value. Our company had value, and we were fortunate enough to be able to execute on that, and were purchased by an individual who saw us as a platform to glom on other MSPs to as a method of growth. That was a big head swelling moment to think that Hansen and I actually made something of value, that we're not just going to get purchased and chop heads and glom on some larger organization. I think that that was important for Hansen and myself.
Oh yeah. So you guys had been having just natural, organic conversations about the exit. You'd watched your peers and mentors go through it, and then there was some moment that said, okay, well, what's our first step? And I don't, did you in that moment think, okay, this is going to be a 5-year journey, or did you have a different mindset of what it might be?
We didn't know how long it was going to take. We knew it was going to be years rather than months or weeks. Right. I think it's unrealistic for folks to think that they're going to be able to get everything together to accomplish the sale in just a couple months. There's a lot of collateral involved, a lot of finances that need to be as squeaky clean as possible. From the outset, Hans and I were always squeaky clean on the finances. Our accountant said he'd never seen us clean a books, which
nice.
Has a lot to do by a lot to do. Lady named Karen made sure that was just so, and I'm very thankful for her.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that probably back in 17 or 18 we decided. I can't see you anymore. I don't know what's going on there. Are you still here? No.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I've been able to hear you. So carry on. I'll figure out this camera thing.
Okay. So yeah, I think that it's 2017, 2018, we started getting more serious about it. Started to get our EBITDA where it needed to be, our revenue where it needed to be, continue to grow, continue to work on our internal processes so that we were never like a well-oiled machine, but we got better as time wore on, and we have EOS to thank for a lot of that ability to focus on what we needed to get done to get a better company.
Hell yeah! So you started from a good place of having good financials, understanding your numbers. You knew they needed to, continually improve. Were you passive about it, or were you active about it? Once you started making that decision and feeling like you were a little more and more ready, did you raise your hand to some population of people? Did you just say, hey, the next guy that calls will actually take it more serious? What was that process like for you all?
So it started with, I don't know if I can name names. Josh, is that appropriate in this forum?
It's fine by me, but you do what you need to do. Yeah.
So a gentleman who I met through, actually earlier than you, but we came to you to be a peer team with some other folks, This gentleman's name is Alex Farling.
Oh yeah.
Owned MSP, and he sold to a gentleman.
Yeah.
And let that gentleman know that, hey, there's this other company here you may want to talk to too. And that started the ball rolling with conversations. Time wasn't right for the first offer. It was the fourth offer we had over the course of 4 years that we took.
Wow.
And it had to check all the boxes again. But then we also talked to people like Evergreen, talked to other MSPs that were buying MSPs or selling MSPs to, just get the word out there that we are looking to exit. And we had a lot of flexibility in timing and how it would play out and whatnot. So yeah, it was something that took many years and more through people we knew, rather than using a broker or anything like that.
Okay. So was Alex your first call, or was that something that came later after you had some other people talking to you?
Well, I heard about his sale, and so I was curious. I had to call him up and talk to him, and I'm sure over the course of that conversation, I was like, Jeff, what's your exit strategy?
Yes.
Well, we need to start talking to people, and Alex helped us talk to people. Turns out Alex was a serial entrepreneur and went on to work with some folks on an excellent tool that was purchased by another company, and now he's working on another excellent tool because he just can't say no.
That's right. That's right.
But I admire him very much.
Oh, absolutely.
And the value he's brought to the whole industry, honestly.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Well, let me then ask you this: you and Hanson know that you're on this journey to exit. You built a company you wanted to work for, and now you have to kind of keep this secret. Like, do I tell my employees? Do I not? That if you chose either direction is the right answer. But what did you do? Did you keep the secret? How
we kept it secret up to a point.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very hard. One of our company values is transparency.
Right.
Like you make a mistake, you own up to it. You got a problem going in your life, we can help with you, let us know. And that goes as far as to, Mr. Client, yes, we made a mistake and we're going to make it right. And then having to hide the machinations behind the scene. Our whole company always was, because I use that line on every business owner exits their business. Hanson and I are going to exit New River Computing someday. So just so you aware, that's going to happen. Is it going to happen this year or 5 years? We don't know. But that part everyone knew. But when we got into the nitty gritty of getting offers, and this story gets long and convoluted. You want the short version or the convoluted one, Josh?
Well, we'll start with the short version, and maybe we'll tease out some of the finer details.
We brought our leadership team on about 4 months before we ultimately ended up closing. That turned into a mistake, probably. So the leadership team that's back to the EOS thing. It's myself, business partner, gentleman is now our VCIO and our service manager. And now I can't see myself there. Now I can see me. I can't see you though.
Ignore the screen. I'm playing around.
We brought them in hopes of smoothing the transition that we thought was going to take a matter of weeks after we accepted an offer from the buyer. So now's where it gets convoluted.
Yeah.
So I encourage everybody to log into the IRS website and check on their company's status in terms of S Corp versus C Corp. We had a problem with the IRS, which remains. They still have a lot of our money. They still have in some unopened mailbag from the summer of 2020 in some parking lot our S Corp election, which would have made the process go a lot smoother. We ended up having a buyer that was willing to do a C Corp stock purchase, which was perfect for us. But please bring your accountant in to make sure that your company is properly configured for the IRS for what people like to see an asset sale, and that means being an S corp. So just check on that. So almost on a year now. The IRS still hasn't sorted everything out. We've got the congressman's office involved, and it's just a mess. And it cost us 3 months of time and untold thousands of dollars to get the sale, get to the sale.
Dang. So you mentioned bringing the, that's a great tip, by the way, just confirming what probably seems obvious, but just triple checking. You said bringing the leadership team in did not work out or was a mistake, I think you said. Why did that turn out to be a mistake?
Had the IRS thing not been a problem, it would not have been a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Because we would have closed quickly after we brought them in. It would have been a matter of 3 weeks rather than 3-4 months.
So the mistake wasn't bringing them in. The mistake was we weren't as close as we thought due to this unforeseen thing.
Correct.
Okay.
And I know that was hard on them knowing what was happening too, but not being able to tell others, their friends in the company and their family members.
Right.
That it wore on all of us, Josh, because again, with the transparency thing, it's anything but being transparent, keeping the sale from your people.
So then you get to this moment where we've got to tell the entire team. Would it be okay to walk me through how you handled that?
Sure. We landed on closing middle of July on a Thursday. We signed the documents. Next morning, Friday morning, all hands meeting, 9:00. Everybody's got to come. Even you work from home people, you're gonna have to come in. And that was kind of weird. Something's going on. What's going on? Yeah. And so we came in and told everybody, and then brought the new owner in at that point in time, had introduced him, had him talk about his vision for the company, which is slightly different than ours, but I think our core values do mesh. And at that point, Hans and I started working less and less. And people took it pretty well. I'm sorry, go ahead, Josh.
I would say, let's stay in this moment just a little bit more. So let's even do the night before, because I know
excruciating.
Yeah.
A lot of tension. Not sure I slept too well the night before. But it was comforting to know that we made the decision to go with this offer largely because of our people. And we thought that this would put them in a good landing space where there are growth opportunities within the company. A company of 15 people, it's pretty flat.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And our people deserve to have room to grow up.
Yeah.
And that was in the new owner's vision.
Cool.
So that helped, but it didn't make it any easier going in that day and having that conversation.
So the night before, you're not sleeping well. It's excruciating. You said, what were some of the emotions you were feeling?
Anxiety, I think, is the big one. Probably not to the point of panic. So anxiety, also happiness, because this is something that we've been working for. For a decade. So excitement along those lines. Anticipating the relief of not having the responsibility of ownership anymore.
Yes.
For me was super important. I think Hanson could bear those burdens more easily than I could. For me, it was affecting my health. My blood pressure was up. Anxiety was up over the course of the many months leading up to that sale. The moment of telling everybody what had happened, and so it was just the day or the moments after was big sighs of relief.
Yeah.
Big sighs of relief.
That is quite a contrast. On the one hand, you're excited that mission accomplished. You set out to do something. You did it. You want to be really in that moment of feeling great, but knowing that you don't know how everyone's going to react and whatever else you attach to it. Okay, so now let's go to the day of. All right, you walk in that room. You got 15 bright and shiny, smiling faces, just looking for another inspiring Jeff moment. What were the first words out of your mouth, if you can remember?
I want to say that we both Hans and I led with, hey, this is the day that we've been talking to you all about off and on now for a long time. Every business owner exits, and we're exiting as owners. We turned down over the course of 4 years 3 other offers that would have not been satisfactory to you all sitting in this room. And that's why we didn't do it. And so I know there's going to be a lot of anxiety and nervousness. Any of you can talk to Hanson and me anytime you want, in the building, out of the building, at the bar, at lunch, whatever. But we really think this is the right move for both Hanson and myself, and for you all, our employees and our clients. So we framed it honestly in that direction. It was nice to be able to be transparent 100% again.
Yeah.
And we did not spend a lot of time with that. We fielded a few questions, and then we introduced the new owner.
I gotcha.
Who I think has the management chops to take this to the next level. And that's not something that Hans and I have training in, or the desire to work harder and take it to the next level. That just wasn't what we wanted to do.
Hell yeah.
And then we left the building at around 10:15, maybe 10:30 for the rest of the day, while the new owner learned about the new people, and they could talk frankly with the new owner about their thoughts on things. I know for a fact that there are newer competing employees who understood that Hans and I probably rode this train to the end of our line, and we couldn't take it to the next level.
Right.
So I think that the people got it, but of course they were nervous and frightened. Hey, natural. You have to be. Things are changing.
Sure.
And none of us super like change. So it's always going to be some anxiety, and from more folks around that. I think they did pretty good.
Yeah.
They did pretty good.
Oh, that's great. Go ahead.
Here's something I think they appreciated. So the new owner gave it a quarter.
Yeah.
Well, we kept doing EOS, but then he canned EOS. He's like all the entrepreneurs we were talking about earlier, but he has the ability to stay focused in ways that Hans and I couldn't. And I think our people appreciated not having the amount of time sucked up to maintain all the EOS things going forward, and rather do their job. I think that John came in and saw, the new owner John came in and saw the people work, and it's like, I don't think we need to spend so much time doing this. I trust you to do your job. Just keep doing what you've been doing. You built a great long-term client base, great long-term employees. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I think that a lot of people appreciated us not being at the helm, because they could do what they were good at doing, which is helping other folks with their technology issues.
Oh yeah. Now, I don't want to, put you on the spot. So anything you don't feel comfortable answering, that's fine. Are you happy with two parts of it? Are you happy with the overall sale price?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then were the terms to your liking?
The terms were fine. We know both Hans and I knew what we needed to get it to exit, and so the terms made sense to our financial planner and Hanson and myself and our SOs, right?
Yeah.
I know my wife was itching very much she had retired about a year before I did. And I know she was really ready to start the next phase of our lives together. And it's been wonderful to spend a lot less time working. So for myself, I saw a project to conclusion. And so now I probably will do an hour or two work here and there as the new owner sees fit. I get paid by the hour for whatever. I could not be an employee, and that's fine. I don't want or need to be. But I do, the structure of the deal, Hans and I are both invested in the success of the company, right?
Oh, nice.
So it's we're not shareholders per se, but we've got several payouts coming down the line.
Yeah.
It's super. This company needs to succeed, so we're invested in making sure this is a success for everyone. So yeah, happy with the dollars. Happy with the situation. And, just at the conclusion of this project, I maybe was working 5, 10, 15 hours a week. And now I'm probably be doing a couple, maybe at that. Start to get to do some of the things that I've always wanted to do, travel more, hang out with the wife more, hang out with the dogs more and the kids. And I've got this jungle of a yard that is constant attention. So, I'm real happy with how the whole thing worked out.
That's awesome.
Did I answer the question you asked, or did I?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let me, I'll kind of pin it with this. My mentor, a million years ago said, of any negotiation, that you play the game of my price, your terms, or your price, my terms. What, how true to that statement was your experience? Were those the two kind of levers that you could pull as a seller?
There was some of that. By the nature of the acquisition of a C Corp Limited, some of those levers motion.
Yes.
So that was a little bit of a challenge.
Right.
So I would say in our case that maybe didn't hold as true as others.
I gotcha.
We did have some flexibility in there, but we were the buyer, and Hans and myself, the sellers, we were very happy with. It's the best deal, right? Everybody's happy at the end of the deal.
There you go.
So.
All right. Well, good. Well, let's do this. We've gone a little bit long. I appreciate you sticking with me. I'm gonna ask you 5 or 6 kind of rapid fire questions. Okay.
Okay. Go.
Start out with probably the toughest one, which is dark mode or light mode.
Light mode.
All right. Fair enough. And
I'm old school. Come on.
That's good. Higher for attitude or skills?
Attitude.
All right. Beautiful. Documentation. Love it or hate it?
I hate it. Best left to somebody else because I suck at it.
If you could wave a magic wand in whatever PSA you used, what would you have made automatically better?
Hourly invoicing in ConnectWise.
All right, fair enough.
Project management in ConnectWise.
There you go.
We got a lot of time anyway, but we could stop at those.
That's fine. What's the most underrated tool you couldn't live without, if there is one?
Huntress.
Huntress. Okay. Awesome. Why?
Fantastic vendor, active in our space. Love their values. Their tool has saved our bacon on more than one occasion. Their technical support has been flawless in our estimation, and I just really admire their participation, going the extra mile, and their transparency when there's a problem too.
Yeah, outstanding. All right, let's do just a couple more here real quick. What if somebody had given you $100,000 6 years ago? Where would you invest it in your business? First instinct.
Gee, Josh. Training on 365 Intune Lighthouse, such that it is Entra ID.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And we'll end with this one. What's the best leadership lesson you learned the hard way?
The best leadership lesson I learned the hard way. Fire sooner rather than later. Hire fast, fire quick, or hire slow, fire quick, I think is
okay.
And yeah, that's burned us in the past on more than one occasion.
Got it. Well, very, very good, Jeff. Well, thank you so much for taking the time with us. I know you're in a retirement mode or however you'll classify it, and pulling you out of the yard and pulling you away from the dogs. Big deal.
I'm going to mow here in just a minute or two. But Josh, I also want to say thank you. I appreciate your participation in Neuromarketing's journey. It was not insubstantial in terms of what we learned as part of the Bering Connector teams.
Oh yeah.
And again, with those relationships, I'm going to talk to these guys the rest of my life, and that's wonderful.
Outstanding.